What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of the Bridge Show. We are happy to have you guys here in this beautiful, lovely, cloudy, semi rainy Friday. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's being safe. We love you guys so much, and we're just thankful that you guys are here to join us. We'd like to bring in the panel once again. Everybody say hello.
Hello, everybody. Good to
What's
see
up,
you all.
y'all? I miss y'all.
Yep, Raul from Bridge 23. We
You
got
know.
Christina from Bridge Amora,
Woo!
Leslie from Bridge North Elizabeth,
What's up, y'all? Good to see you.
and the man behind the curtain, William Hartz. William, what's going on, bro?
Hello there.
How's it going?
Things are going all right.
Good. You're done with school, right?
Well, yeah, we finished a week ago, so we're on summer vacation already, which is nice.
Perfect. Nice. Everybody, how's everybody doing? Good?
Great.
Fantastic.
Anything new?
Good.
Same old stuff?
Same old tune.
Same old thing.
What you guys...
I have to say, if you don't mind, Zeus,
Go ahead, man.
just a quick shameless plug here. Wednesday, we're doing prayers at 7:30.
Yes.
So just tune in if you guys could. We're here to support you guys. You guys want to chat? It's just literally like 20-30 minutes just chilling and praying. Like if y'all want to talk, y'all got questions, y'all confused about something, y'all need prayer, just hop in our live and we're gonna vibe and it's gonna be dope. All right. So I just
You gotta
want
tell me where it is. Where's it happening at?
Oh, got you. It's on the Bridge Youth Instagram page.
Woo, woo.
All
You
right.
gotta
So
follow
holler
us.
at us, follow us. All right. There's gonna be some reminders going out soon. But I'm really, really excited to spend time with you guys on Wednesdays, man. Love you guys.
Right, man. And that's very good, very huge. You know, we all could use prayer. I mean, prayer is probably one of the most powerful form of communication when it comes to God and just being able to express yourself to God, have the Lord listen to you and have him speak back to you. So, you know, I really encourage you guys to hop on, be a part of that so that you guys can be doing your thing in there. All right. Um, Christina, why don't you give us the bridge news?
Okay, I have to put my glasses on for this because I can't read this far away. And every time I wear them, you see the glare a little bit, so it looks like whatever. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna put them on real quick, okay? Like the old lady that I am. I'll even wear them down here like this. So the bridge news that we have for today. So bridge locations are still closed, guys. Schools are still closed. So sorry, that's still the same. But hopefully by September we'll see you guys all again. And if we don't, because of school, it's okay because we're still gonna see you for BYMC September 18th through the 20th. September 18th through the 20th.
We love it.
Save the dates. Did I say 18th through 20th? 18th through 20th. 18th through 20th.
18 through the 20th. Yeah.
If there's anything that you
correct.
should, 18 through the 20th.
18 through
18 through
20.
the 20th.
It-
18, 19, 20.
Excuse me?
18, 19, 20. 18, 19, 20. 18, 19,
19,
20.
20.
18,
18,
19,
20. So save
Throwback, right?
the
That's a good one,
dates.
bro. You brought that back.
If there's anything that you need to know, if there's anything you take away from this show aside from, loving Jesus, September 18th, 19th, 20th, BYMC. Be there or be square.
Okay.
It's going to be a very, very good BYMC. It's going to be a topic that is extremely relevant with what's going on today. And our ultimate goal, man, is when you come back from that BYMC, you're pretty much going to be at such a higher level. It's not even funny. So that is the goal, ladies and gentlemen.
Big facts.
In other news, today is a very special holiday that's been on for such a long time, but not a lot of people might know what it is, and we want to educate you guys. Raul, why don't you just break down what's today?
What's good, everybody? Today is a very, very important day. Today is Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who have been enslaved in the United States. Originating in Texas, it is now celebrated annually on the 19th of June throughout the United States with varying official recognition. So that means that not everybody officially recognizes it yet. And I'm going to say yet because people are pushing for it to be recognized.
Right.
Quick fun fact, Juneteenth is not the day that enslaved people were freed or the day that slavery ended. It marks the day when enslaved Texans found out they had been freed for over 2 years. So that means the bill was signed 2 years before, and there were slaves that weren't told the good news, and their basically masters weren't following the law and kept them for another 2 years, basically working free labor. So June 19th was like the official day that like everybody kind of knew. And as you can imagine, I'm sure there was still a lot others that we don't know who were probably still struggling with trying to get their freedom, even though a bill was signed. But that's Juneteenth, very special. Definitely deserves to be celebrated because nobody should be a slave. Everybody should be free, and everybody should have the freedom to have joy, to worship the Lord, and to congregate with your friends and family. So Juneteenth, go eat, go chill, go vibe, go support Black businesses, go chill with your homies, and listen to some good old rap music. The old stuff, the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? And just enjoy today, the positive stuff like the Roots and Public Enemy, like the things that make you think. So some good stuff, guys. So that's my piece.
So thank you, bro. Appreciate that. All right, so Bridge at 20, just so you guys know, we had a couple episodes back where we celebrated our Bridge at 20. And for today's Bridge at 20, Billy is going to bring us all the way back to 2019, last year.
Whew.
Yeah, not too far back today, just only about a year ago, because it was only about 1 year ago today. Wasn't exactly a year ago, it was very close. We had the Bridge Olympics 2019. So in case you don't know what Bridge Olympics are, every year the bridge gets together, all the bridges, in the park, and we represent our home bridges, and we do our own version of the Olympics. So there's events and there's competitions, and it's all kind of sporting based. Some of them are actual sports, some of them are things we make up. And the bridges compete against each other, and then we see which bridge can earn the most points, become the Bridge Olympics champions for that particular year. The Bridge Olympics for this year were supposed to happen, I don't know if it was this week or next week, but it was like right around now when it was supposed to happen. Obviously, we can't do it this year, but they'll be back for next year. But just about a year ago, we were doing Bridge Olympics. Also, we have a barbecue when we do that. Jesus was cooking hot dogs last year, as I remember correctly.
Throwing it down on the grill.
And there's that picture, this picture of Raul right there, completely covered. I guess we had a colors war, like a chalk.
That's the best part. I love that. I love the color war.
Look at that picture. I look like I'm gasping for air.
So that was every year. I believe, as of right now, I don't know what the full record is, but I know for a fact that downtown has the most victories in Bridge Olympics history.
Last year, South Amora won, so...
They won last year, but downtown has at least 3 years in a row that they won when we first started out. So
well, they're a bunch of cheaters, so...
Shout out to Bridge Downtown, always killing it. We appreciate you.
Bridge Downtown is legit.
They always come in.
They're like the Golden State Warriors, just like solid. A solid team.
Yep. So, hopefully next year when things are back to normal, we're definitely going to bring back Bridge Olympics. And listen, you guys got to represent your bridge. Make sure you come through. It's free hot dog. I got a bunch of little quarter waters, bunch of little regular waters. And
quarter waters, baby.
And then, and it's just a lot of sports and a lot of games. So it's going to be fun like it always has been. And you just make sure you guys tune in. Sounds good? Sounds good. Before we go on to our teaching today, I just want to ask you guys, are you guys still with green thumbs or have your thumbs turned brown?
Oh, they're green.
My thumbs are green. I have a new addition in my family too. So.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to show you my plant because I think it's dead.
No, not the new one.
The new one is flourishing. She thriving.
She's thriving.
But I got some plant vitaminas for you if you need some plant vitaminas.
Do you see that?
What's going on up there?
She's sleeping. Keep it down.
We're just not going to talk about it.
Somebody's elbow broken up there. Did I see a snapped elbow?
The thumbs are not green.
Oh God.
They're a little little brownish green.
You guys, they probably think we're like really old and boring for having plants, but have a plant. Get a plant. You could get a plant anywhere. If you get a plant from ShopRite or whatever, it's just a little friend, to take care of. It's like a little
Weird.
Tamagotchi. You could, oh my God, they don't
And-
know what
Oh my God.
Tamagotchi is.
Our bridge kids are watching and they're like, boomers.
They're all
Not for
gonna call us
nothing though,
plants.
yo. Plants are like living things. Like
Yeah, it's like a little pet, and you
It's
watch
dope.
it grow.
they clean
Boomers.
your air in your room.
Yeah,
Exciting. It's exciting. Try it.
get a plant.
And also just remember
BMS.
that the world is literally like dying because there's not enough plants in the world.
Right.
So
You could
very
save
important.
the world. Get a plant.
save the world, Brent. Get your little plant. Take care of
We love to see it.
I'd rather just eat them.
it.
Throw them in the grill.
Herbivore over there.
You've
Cutting
had
it up.
you've had
Eat 'em
my
like this.
Yeah, I like today I had
Herbivore.
so today for dinner I made grilled chicken on the grill.
Mm.
I had some chopped onions, some spinach,
Yeah.
some olives, and Leslie's world famous lettuce straight from her backyard.
Yeah, you did.
Hey.
Which is
It's so
banging.
good.
It's actually very, very good. So that was really, really good.
That's
You know,
dope.
Yay.
it's a lot of hard work when to grow that kind of stuff. You kind of have to be like a little servant to the little plant in order for it to grow, right?
True,
Yeah, you
true.
just slide right in.
Yep.
Transition
Christina,
game
Gotta
strong.
serve.
Christina, Eddie in the chat said your plant's not dead; it's just hibernating right now.
Yes, it's hibernating in the summer. We love,
Taking a broke neck nap.
we love to see it. Oh man, my plant. But I'll grab the other one before the show ends, and I'll show you that
Show
I'm
off a little
keeping
bit.
one alive. Yeah, yeah.
Well, guys, today it's actually gonna be a start of a 3-part series that we're gonna be doing that is extremely important. Something that if you legit take hold of everything that we're going to say could really elevate your life personally and the lives of others around you. And we're gonna be talking about becoming a leader and what does that mean. God created every single one of us to become leaders. To become leaders in our communities, to become leaders in our families, to become leaders in our school, and to become leaders in every aspect of influence that you have. So wherever you're at, whether you're chilling with your boys, chilling with your girls, you're hanging out here, you're hanging out there, you're in school, you're part of a book club, or you're part of the basketball team, or whatever thing you're part of, God created you to be a leader. And everybody's created to be a leader in many ways. And we're going to talk about that and the importance of becoming a leader, especially nowadays. Like we need to, our goal at the Bridge is to not only unite your heart with the heart of God, but also to create, to teach you guys and to mold you guys to be the leaders of the future, to be the leaders, in the world, when you guys grow up. And we're going to do a 3-part series talking about the 3 things you need to do to become a leader. And today we're going to start off with the most important thing. Without this, you can never become a leader. In order to be a leader, the most important thing you need to do is become a servant. I'm going to say that again. In order to be a leader, the first thing you need to do is become a servant. And I know for some people that kind of like doesn't make sense, right? Like when you try to put the 2 words together, a leader and a servant, like so it may seem like they don't mesh. They don't make sense. They're puzzle pieces that do not connect. But the reality is you can't have one without the other. You can't be a true leader if you don't know how to serve others. You can't, and in order for you to become that leader, you need to learn how to serve others and to become a servant. So that's one thing that is extremely important. And it's something that, for some people, they're like, oh, I could be a leader. I don't have to do, serve and stuff like that. No, in order for you to be a true leader, a leader where people will follow you, a leader that has influence, a leader that has power, the most important thing you need to do, the first thing you need to do is become a servant. Once you become a servant, God propels you to becoming that true, natural born leader that every single one of us is created to be. What do you guys have to say about that? Is like, can you be a leader and not a leader at the same time, or do they have to be together?
If you want to be a good leader, you should be a servant first. You could have any title you want, but it doesn't mean you're going to be effective. So it's like you got to be in the trenches before you even know like what you're leading.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And everybody kind of knows that, right? Like even when you start at a job, you always start at the bottom.
Mhm.
And if you don't, like say maybe you don't start right at the bottom, it's maybe because like you got a higher like level of education to already like qualify you for that. You know, like nobody just starts at the top. You always have to work your way up there, because how effective would you be if you didn't even know what they did at the bottom?
Right.
You know, like how effective as a leader would you be if you didn't even know to lead? You have to lead servants. How would you know how to lead them if you weren't a servant yourself? Like you would have no experience in that.
Definitely, I agree. I think that serving, there's something about serving that widens your perspective in leadership. It gives you a lot more, like, you just have more of a better perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just not at a high position, but you are also low, kind of like how Christina said. Like, you don't just like see the forest, you also see all the trees, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have both perspectives. And I think that to have those two perspectives is something that's very powerful, and it's a leadership that is needed everywhere. Because if you can understand the person from the lowest position all the way up to the top, then you know how to best serve everybody. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then in turn, you know how to lead everybody. So I think that definitely, man, I agree with all of that.
Yep. And you know, talking about leaders, right? When you look at the Bible, there's, you know, even those who may not be fully familiar with the Bible, there are certain stories that you do know about. There's certain Bible characters that you do kind of know about because they're so famous, or they're like, you know, they're embedded with culture or pop culture, and you see it all over the place. For example, everybody knows Noah's Ark, right? You see it all like all over the stores and stuff like that for the nursery homes. We all know about Jesus.
Nursery homes.
We all know about
Trees.
like Moses splitting the water. And another and one character that you know, is extremely famous character in the Bible is King David. King David is extremely famous. A lot of people who don't really read the Bible that much, they know King David as the one who killed Goliath,
Mhm.
right? And he's extremely famous. He knows you know, a lot of people know him, you know, and he is one of the greatest leaders in the Bible. One of the great first great kings of Israel. You know, there was the first king was King Saul. He kind of sucked, and then a great king came along, which was King David. He pretty much elevated the kingdom of Israel to the higher level through his leadership. But like all great leaders, right? All great leaders, King David first was a servant. And talk about humble beginnings. King David had a bunch of brothers that were older than him. You know, and you know that, you know, in that, when you're one of the youngest brothers, you don't have you know, you're not considered like a leader, right? You know, your brothers, the older ones, are considered leaders, but not David. You know, like David, you know, he was looked out, um, was looked was pretty much elevated to a high level at a young age. And all he did different from everybody else was that with all his heart, he served. You know, he served with all his heart. His first job he ever had was he was a shepherd. You know, for
Mhm.
those who don't know what a shepherd is someone who takes care of a bunch of sheep. All right. Now, King David took care of a bunch of sheep. That was his number one job. And he did it with all his heart. He served his, you know, his family business, because those sheep didn't belong to him. Those sheep belonged to his father. So it wasn't his job that it wasn't his own business that he was taking care of, right? He was taking care of the family business, who his father was the boss. And yet he did his job with all his heart as a good servant. And the reason why we know all this, that he did a great job and he was such a good servant, was because, you know, later on when you read David's life, and later on, and he comes and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, when he comes against Goliath. You know, whenever a wolf come, or a lion come, or a bear comes to take away the sheep, regular shepherds, you know, they have the mentality of, well, at least it wasn't me. You know what I mean? Like the sheep, the lion, the bear, or the wolf came, grabbed my sheep. Look, at least it wasn't me. This is not, it's not my loss.
Hmm.
As long as, I'm good, but not King David. Not David. David was so loyal to his job, was so focused on making sure he does the job correctly, that when a sheep was taken away by a vicious animal, David did all that he can to make sure he gets it back.
Right.
He made sure he served 100% so that he can make sure that the job is being done correctly. And if it's to take care of all the sheep, he's make sure that he takes care of all the sheep. And that's what happens when you serve. When you serve with all your heart, you become you start to evolve into the next phase of your life. The reason why I say that was because when the sheep, David started off as just being a shepherd, but God was already preparing him to become a warrior.
Yep.
Because in him just being a servant, he ended up becoming that warrior, that he ended up killing, embodying a whole lion and a whole bear. Like, that's crazy. Have any of you guys in any aspects of your life was being prepared for your future roles by just doing that particular role and like pretty much serving in that particular role? Any of you guys? I'll give you an example. Right. Like King David, he was just a shepherd, yet he was acting and becoming like a warrior, and God elevated him to that position.
I definitely have an example. I think that being a part of the Bridge Youth Ministries and serving when I was like youth, you know what I'm saying, and being a leader in training and just all those phases of my life in ministry helped me be the leader that I am today professionally. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those of you guys who don't know, I work in the court system, and you deal with a lot of tough characters. You deal with a lot of basically, I hate to say this, but you deal kind of with like a very dark aspect of society in courts, in the justice system, whatever the case might be. And I just feel like working at Bridge, serving people, serving all kinds of different people, prepared me to be able to do my job effectively and with mercy. I think that people who just jump into the profession come in with a lens like that they've never worked with that population of people. You never work with people who are gonna like snap at you or give you bad attitude. But I did that when we were already in church, you know what I'm saying, and we were going out to do ministry. And so to be able to come and do it at my job now, I'm able to do it so gracefully because of that experience I had at church. You know what I'm saying? And I also think that my grind is where it's at because of serving in church. I remember, this will be my last point and I'll close, but I remember Harold one time, it was me and Harold, we literally, all the red seats, the first time the red seats got to the Liberty, we unloaded all of them and set them all up. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like this is a lot, yo. Like, I'm sweaty as heck, whatever the case might be. And then when we were done with that, we had to go shovel outside of the church.
Oh my God.
And so for me, like that grind, now when I'm at work and I get asked to do a task is nothing.
Right.
Because I've already put in that work at church. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So now in the professional field, it's like, oh, Raul, can you go and type up blah, 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 or do this? And I'm like, of course. Like, it's
Right.
nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I already put in the time. You know what
Right.
I mean? So that's my example.
Like, it doesn't scare us to run things and like be in charge of them, because like we could all say it, like we've been part of so many ministries and projects and whatever, and then from one point to the next, like Pastor Carlos just started telling us to run things, and that first time it's like, wait, what? Like, oh my God. And we still kind
Whoa.
of get that feeling like, wait, you want me to like run this thing?
Yeah.
But like that transition happens where like you've gotten your feet wet and your hands dirty, so many times that like I can now trust you with this, because what needs to be done, like how to lead these people, and especially because we know PC and what he wants, like we know his expectations and like how to meet him, hopefully, but
Right.
yeah, that's definitely part of it.
It's good.
Yeah, man. And so, and that's how you become a leader. When you first start serving and you serve others, God elevates you to the higher place. And it's extremely important, to serve and stuff like that. But just going on, continuing in David's story, just to show you how when you serve, God elevates you to a higher position.
Yep.
So we all know the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was wilding out. He's a giant, super big, making fun of everybody in the army of Israel, saying that, yo, you guys are a bunch of punks. Which one of you guys is gonna
Gunning on
come see
people.
me? Yeah. Which one of you guys is gonna come see me? Fight me, and all that good stuff. And then here comes my boy David, a little boy. He's a kid.
Yeah.
He's a kid. He's a bridge kid. And what was he doing? Why was he in the field?
He was bringing food to his brothers.
That's it. My boy was being such a little servant. He was just bringing
Yep.
cheese to his brothers. Cheese. So I just
Cheese.
picture little David said, you know what? I'm gonna be a good servant. I know my brothers are probably over there war. You know what? I'm gonna bring my brothers some cheese, stuff like that, so you could
His
have a
brothers
good
are mad
meal.
cocky. He's like, you guys want some of this cheese?
Cheese and crackers. He just bought them
Oh,
a little
God.
platter.
Daddy sent me to bring you guys some food. Sorry.
Exactly. And then King David goes and he brings some cheese to his brother. And then he, in the midst of going over to serve his brother and give him some food, he
Right.
hears this Goliath guy pretty much cursing the entire army out.
Yeah.
saying
Cursing
that,
God out too.
And yeah, not only cursing the army out, he's cursing God,
Right.
saying, oh, you guys are this, you guys are that, and your God is this, your God is that. And and then David was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, why is this guy talking crazy and you guys are here chilling? And then David got really upset. And then so David goes to the king of Israel, who's King Saul at the time. He says, yo, listen, this guy's over here disrespecting God. If you want, I could go handle it for you. And this is what he says first. And then and King Saul says, no, like you're just a kid. Like, no, like you can't really do that. And then, but then King David says to him, he says, your servant. All right. So this is how he describes himself. He doesn't say like, bro, like I'm a champion or I'm a warrior. Like I could do this. The first thing, the way he describes himself is he says, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off the sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
When it turned on me, I seized it by the hair and struck it and killed it. Your servant, here's another way he's describing himself again. He says, your servant has killed both lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine, talking about Goliath, he says, will be just like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The same Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the bear will rescue me from the hands of this Philistine. And then King Saul was like to David, go ahead and may the Lord be with you. And we all know the story. David went out there and whooped Goliath and killed him, and everybody was like amazed at him. And to me, what was crazy about that is, when you think about David's life, he was just a servant serving his father, taking care of sheep. And he served with such a good, with all his heart, and he served it so well that God made him a warrior, able to kill lions and able to kill bears. And he was being a servant and a warrior so well that when Goliath came and started acting crazy, where King Saul was King Saul was the king. He should have been the one to fight Goliath, but he was too afraid. And King David was the one. I'm not afraid. I will go ahead and kill Goliath. I will serve and I will kill Goliath. And at that point, God was already elevating him to become the future king.
Yep.
And many times in my own personal life, when it came to the bridge, my first job at the bridge was after the bridge. My number one job was to make sure that all the chairs were collected and put it away.
Right.
And I did that. I did my job. I just and I did it with all my heart. I served that way. Whenever Pastor Carlos needed me to do anything, I served. I did it. And even now, like at Bridge, you guys see these kids at Bridge, whether you have your student leaders, right? Or the kids there. You know the kids that serve with all their hearts, that helps out at Bridge.
Right. Without even having to be told.
We're not even asking, yo, Zeus, you need help with this? I got you. Oh, you want me to put the balls away for you? And you see them do that? See, those are signs of future leaders. Those are signs of people that God can trust
Right.
with the big things. You guys have any stories of where do you see like these future leaders in a bridge, and what makes these future leaders in a bridge um, so different and so special?
I think it's those kids, the ones that step up and just offer or just start doing things because they see you do it. So then like the next time they come to bridge, they just automatically start doing like how you said, they just start collecting the basketballs afterwards because they just want to help. They want to put their, they want to be a part of it, and I think about this verse. I pulled it up. It's in Luke 16. It says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is, oh well, that's something different, but whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So it's like you're saying, like, if you're good at just putting chairs away, the basketballs away, or whatever, those are signs of like a good leader. So we're going to give you more responsibility because you handle that little bit, so we're going to give you a little more and more and see how you do with that. And we've seen that like in this is mostly uh more credit to Jen because she like taught Pam how to do all the administrative work. But Pam started doing a little bit, with the admin stuff, and now she just runs all of it. Like she has the binders, she like does everything in Youth Tracker. Like she completely took over. And mhm.
I think a lot of it too has to do like your willingness to serve. I think stems from just like where you are in your heart, right? So like I find that a lot of the times, even with David and like other people in the Bible, God always calls people not based off of like what we would value as worth, right? So there are some kids in Bridge who just think like, oh well, if I want to be a leader next year, can I? And it's like it doesn't really work like that, right? Because it's not just about being a leader. It's not just about having the t-shirt or being in this position. It's about like where your heart is.
Right.
And I think that's like where God meets people in the Bible, right? There could be people who have all their own set of issues or don't seem like the people that God is going to choose. And yet he chooses them because of their heart, because they're willing to serve, because they're humble, because they're not what you would think is like this big fancy celebrity, or, like popular kid, or it's just like, where's your heart? Like if you're willing to serve me, if you're willing to humble yourself down at the beginning, then I'm going to build you up. Basically, I'm going to give you that purpose. So I think like even for the kids that we have now, like you could see a lot of them like where their heart lies, like in serving, they're not even doing it so that they could have the power or the authority of a leader, but God's going to give that to them anyway because their heart is in the right place because they serve. So
Right. And
I like Caleb is coming to mind. Like Caleb, shout out to Caleb. He's just such a good kid.
Special K.
Yeah. And I've had him on my team for BYMC now for the last few years. And he's just so great, like always willing to help, always willing to do whatever. I remember the first BYMC, I was so nervous because it was my first one as a leader. And like, why is Caleb telling me like, you're going to be great? You're going to do great. Like, it's just like those little things where I'm like, man, kid, God's going to take you so far, So
That's dope. That's dope. And I also want to just take this time too to talk about kids who are like the kids that struggle with that. Aligning your heart sometimes isn't easy. Sometimes you have to serve when you don't want to serve, and your heart can become aligned. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been times where I didn't want to serve, and then I end up serving, and at the end of that, I felt like such a difference within myself, within my heart. And so I just challenge those of you who sometimes struggle with serving. Maybe you want to be out early. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't want to come to bridge on time. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are struggling with those things, like, yo, show up. I'm telling you, bro. Like there's something special in serving. Like Jesus was stating, there's something powerful in serving, yo. So just wanted to talk to that group of kids.
You know how many times at Bridge I have like the youth come up to me, "Yo, Zeus, I want to be a leader. Like, what do I have to do to be a leader?" And the first thing I say, "All right, you want to be a leader? Bridge starts at 6 o'clock. I want you here at 5:45. And when you're here, I just want you to make sure that the kids are playing. You're playing with the little kids. Making sure that they're having fun. You be the person that catches their rebounds when they shoot. You be the person that play catch with them, and you just be a person that plays tag with them. That's all I want you to do. Out of the 6 people that says I want to be a leader, and I tell them to do that, only probably about one of them actually follows through.
Right. I think.
Because
Oh, sorry.
everybody wants to be a leader, but nobody wants to do the small things
Sacrifice.
first,
Right.
in order that which propels you to become a great leader.
Right.
Yep.
I
You was
think
gonna say something?
I think Raul, didn't you used to tell the kids to come at like 5
Yeah,
instead?
5:30.
Like knowing nobody was gonna be there, but you just
Early as
wanted to
heck.
see
I did it.
who was
And
gonna be committed.
and I would walk up and see kids, like the kids that would come early, and that would literally bless me. And I'll be like, you know what? Those are the kids that are gonna be great leaders. And
They're probably sitting there like, where is this man?
you know who was one of the kids that would be there early? Tamara, the girl we interviewed last
Oh
week. She would be
yeah,
there at 5:30 every Friday,
that's
way
awesome.
before Bridge starts, waiting for me to pull up with my bag of basketballs, soccer balls, and all that stuff. So yeah,
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
gotta challenge them, yo.
Yep.
And that's how you become a leader. The greatest leader of all is God. Can we all agree?
Yes.
Amen.
Jesucristo.
And Jesus, Jesus was the greatest leader. But what made Jesus such a great leader was that he was so humble, and he was the greatest servant of all time.
Mhm.
I read the Bible a lot. And there's certain times where you read something in the Bible and you just kind of like skim through it. It doesn't really hit you. And then once in a blue moon, you reread it. Like after a couple of times, it socks you right in the lip, and you're like, "Oh snap!" Like I didn't peep that before. Now I do.
Right.
And there's this part of the story of Jesus where it was around the last, or near the end, when right before he was getting ready to be betrayed and to be crucified, he was having dinner with his 12 disciples. And having dinner with his 12 disciples, they were just eating and stuff like that. And hear what it says in the Bible. It says, the evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put, at that moment, Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he has come from God and was returning to God. So here we have Jesus. He's having food with his friends, I just want to paint this picture for you guys. Here is Jesus Christ, right, having dinner with the 12 disciples who he loved with all his heart. And he knew that the time was coming where he was getting ready to be returned to God. And at that moment, the Bible clearly says that Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power. So in other words, at that particular moment, in that feast, Jesus knew that God gave him all the power in the world. It was as if that particular moment, if you guys are Dragon Ball Z fans, he became Super Saiyan 1000. At that moment, Jesus Christ had all the power in the world. If he had, if you had all that power, and you knew that in a couple of hours you're gonna get betrayed by one of your best boys, by your best friends, you're gonna get falsely accused, you're gonna get imprisoned, you're gonna get tortured, you're gonna get whooped, and you're gonna get crucified for the sins of so many people who the reality is won't even thank him or live their life differently after dying for him. And Jesus had all the power in the world. If he really wanted to, he could have just deleted Judas. He could have deleted like everybody who was trying to come against him. He could have just deleted the cross and just moved on and stuff like that. Like Jesus had all the power in the world. And what does the Bible says exactly right after he found out that he had all the power in the world? But before I go there, like how many of us know people or maybe ourselves that when we realize we have a lot of power, we use it for our own benefit? Anybody?
I never do it. I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, I think everyone's guilty of it just a little bit because that's human nature, right? Like human nature, we're sinners. So in general, like if you give us some kind of power, like if you knew that you had a get out of jail free card, or you knew, like you would use it, right? But that's, or you would, maybe you would want to use it. I think like everybody kind of falls a little bit a victim of this at some point in their life, but it's it's because like it's part of our human nature, but you know, our spirit man tells us like puts us back in place.
See, a regular person, when they like, if a lot of regular people, if regular people were to become as powerful as God at the moment, and they're surrounded by their creation, you know, they would just do things to show off their power, right? And have people real and say, you know, God, you're the best, you're the bomb, like, you know, and they show off how great they are. But this is what Jesus did the moment he received all the power in the universe. I'm gonna read it again so you guys can see exactly, like, there was no skips, there was no thinking, there was no other things that was happening in between. Like, this literally happened the moment he received the power. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and he came from God and was returning to God. The next verse. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothes, wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the feet and drying them wash his disciples' feet and drying them with the towel and that he wrapped around him.
Right, but he had that power the whole time too. Like even like when Satan was tempting him, he always had the fullness of God in him. Like I don't know where that verse is, but like he had the like knowing that he had the fullness of God in him, he didn't act out on that. You know what I mean? Like he could have, I don't know if this is where you're going, but he could have gotten off that cross any second. He could have had like God's army come and like extinguish all these crazy Romans or whatever, but he didn't, because like we're talking about servanthood. So God, Jesus knew that he was there to serve. So that purpose, that mission to serve outweighed like his want to use his power, like to just be comfortable, to be free, you know. So you know, servanthood is going to overpower that use of your own power.
Yep. I mean, I think what's powerful about this is that, you know, we forget how, you know, sometimes it's easy for us to understand the power of God and how powerful he is, you know, like the whole omnipresent, that God is everywhere at all times, omnipotent, which is right. Omnipotent.
I say omnipotent. Wow, we're the same.
Omnipotent.
Saying that, you know, God is all powerful. He has all the strength and power in the world. And what's the third one, Billy? You have the PhD. Omnipresent.
Omnipotent.
And
I mean, it's
he's all knowing.
Omniscient.
Omniscient, right? Is that the one?
I think that's a made up word.
That's all knowing.
That's all knowing. And so to me, I could understand God. Like, it doesn't boggle my mind knowing that God is all knowing. It doesn't boggle my mind knowing that God is all present, that he's everywhere at the same time. It doesn't boggle my mind that God is all, and he's all knowing, that he knows everything. But what boggles my mind and my small little brain can't comprehend is that God is more humble than I am. That God is humble. Here, the Bible clearly says that Jesus had all the power in the universe. And what he does, and the reason why we all follow him, was that he used all his power and all his strength to serve others. And that was God called every single one of us to do. God created all of us to become leaders in our neighborhoods, to become leaders in our schools, to become leaders in our groups that we're in, our friendships, you know, our circles, to become leaders in there. And in order for you to become a leader and to be that person that God created you to be, the most important thing you need to do first, and Jesus did it, because that's just, you know, if Jesus does it, that means we should do it too, right? The first thing he did when he was getting all that power was he served. And that's the same thing what we need to do. We need to serve others. And in that, God elevates you to the highest degree. And that's it, guys. You know, that's what I want you guys to go home with, you know, is, you know, in order to be a leader, you must first become a servant. And when you serve, God elevates you to the higher portion. All right. And that's pretty much it, guys. You know, thank you guys for coming and tuning in. You know, we love you guys and we're grateful that you guys are here. Everybody, any last words you want to say?
Look at my plan. Thriving.
Ooh,
Thriving. This is the same plant I showed a few shows ago, and let me tell you,
She's
thriving.
doing real good.
That's right. That one up there might be asleep, but this one's wide awake.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
got you.
Oh,
I think I want to, if it's okay with you, Zeus, I want to close out with a quote from Dr. King.
yes.
At least on my part, this is my final words and thoughts, and it's right on par with what you said with serving. And Dr. King says this in this quote. He says, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." And I think that that's very powerful coming from a man who was powerful. He's a man who had a PhD. He was a pastor. He was an influencer. He was one of the leaders in the civil rights movement. And for him to tell you that you can be great just by serving is a powerful statement that comes a little closer to date than Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Which goes to show you that Jesus kind of set a trend
Mhm.
throughout
And the right
history.
example.
Right. He set the example that like greatness doesn't come from just having the title, but it comes from the person who makes themselves the lowest and like the humblest amongst others. And there's great power in that.
Yep.
Amen.
All right. And that's pretty much it, man. Billy, anything you want to say?
Just to wrap up the show, or with the topic.
In general, like to topic or to wrap up the show, whatever you like.
Subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just the topic. I mean, I completely agree. Like, I used to teach a leadership class in the schools in Elizabeth for a couple of years, and the first lesson every year that I did was that leader is spelled SERVANT, because that's how. I mean, there's no other way to do it. Like, if you can't lower yourself to serve, then you can't lead. You can manage people, but no one likes being managed. People want to be led. People don't want to be managed. So if you want to just tell people what to do, that's a manager, and there's no power in that. If you want to lead someone, you have to be able to humble yourself and become a servant, and it has to start there.
Exactly. Preach.
But if that's the end of the show, then everyone needs to right now go and subscribe to us and follow us. Look at that transition right there.
Perfect, man. You need to serve your
segue right there. Follow us on all of the things on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I don't know if we're actually using that. We have one though. On all the things, visit us on bridgeyouth.com. Make sure you're keeping up with what we're doing, because the summer's coming, and we're going to be all away, but the Bridge is still going to be around doing some stuff. So you want to make sure you're following us on there.
That's right.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are going to be posting some videos over the summer, right, Jesus?
Yes, sir.
They're not going to be. So we should probably say that over the summer we're not going to be doing live shows. We're going to be doing pre-recorded things, but you're still going to have content to watch on our YouTube channel. And we'll be back live in September. We have one more live show before we go to pre-recorded for our summertime specials. So make sure you're following us so you can keep up with what's going on. We have a lot of information coming about BYMC, because that's coming up very, very soon. So make sure you are with us all summer long online.
Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, guys, stay connected, and just tune in, man. And we want to hear from you. Contact us in our DMs. Let us know what you think, and we'll make sure that we shout you guys out. So we love you guys, and we see you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Be safe.
Love you guys. Be
and
safe.
have a good one.
Safe.